Live look for you at St. John's, Newfoundland, where we are joined by CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin, standing by near the harbor for us this morning. Genevieve, what is the latest on the search for this missing submarine?
Well, we have been seeing ships leaving the harbor here since early this morning. They're heading to join the search. The Terry Fox, the Coast Guard ship, left just a few minutes ago, in fact, carrying more equipment. We saw those planes yesterday land here. Those U.S. planes landed in Newfoundland, and they unloaded material on board, and those ships are now heading to the area. And as you talked about these facts, these sounds that were detected under the water is something that is really something that has been a big part of the search here. So what we heard is that there was that Canadian plane that detected these sounds under the water, that it was able to hear this. What media reports have been saying is that those sounds are at 30-minute intervals. If indeed that is the case, that is giving hope to many people, because they say we know that on board that particular vessel is a very experienced diver, Paul-Henri Nargelet, a retired French officer, naval officer, and he would know indeed how to send a signal on board, and that could be something that would be something he would do, say people who know him, because he would be able to send a signal that's just not a continuous or not a random signal. If it is organized, if it is every 30 minutes, then indeed people say that it could be signs of life. It could be giving hope to people that this is an area that has to be searched. And so that is indeed what people on the ground, what the U.S. Coast Guard has said, is that it is refocusing the search in order to detect if in these are sounds that they should be looking at, but they say that for now they're not locating, they've not had any more sign of that.
Genevieve, can you talk to us at all about the oxygen supply? Has there been talk about that? We know that there was only a certain amount.
Absolutely. You know, we know that in not too long from now, there will be no oxygen supply on board. We had been told that they would run out sometime Thursday morning. And at that particular time, of course, this is the race against the clock to get there before that time. We know that there are the equipment on board to scrub some of the carbon dioxide that is being emitted on board, and that is continuing to happen. But at a certain point, there will be no more breathable air on board. And so that is the race here, because if indeed the vessel is located, if indeed they're able to get to Titan and they're able to see exactly where it is, in some ways that may have been, even as formidable of a task as that is, may have been the easier part of the mission, because then it would be about retrieving the Titan. If it is deep underneath the water, then they have to find some way of getting to it. We know that the people on board are bolted in. They can't get out themselves. They need somebody to get them out of there. And so really there is that race against time, and all those ships are heading to the area there, but it's 700 kilometers from here. So it's hard to get there. It takes some time.
Genevieve, last question for you. Is the weather playing a role here at all?
It is playing a role. It's been very foggy here since the beginning of the search. There has been really covering. There's been a thick fog that was hovering over the area in the first few hours. One of the things they're looking for, and it does seem to be here calmer. We'll see what U.S. Coast Guard says about the search site a bit later. But one of the things that is difficult is there's a lot of waves in the area. It does make it harder to see this vessel, even if it is near the top of the water. So it would be floating possibly near the top of the water. If there's waves, there are those waves that would be crashing on top of it. It is a white vessel, so it could be harder to locate from the air if there are large waves. If the water's calmer, then that may help in the search, and that's what they're hoping for today, Heather.
CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin joining us from St. John's, Newfoundland this morning.